All right. Well, good morning, everyone. I'd like to just interrupt your lunch for one moment. If we could just please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You know, before we get into the presentation, first of all, thank you all for being here. I want to take a moment. We're going to talk about brick and mortar, buildings, businesses, tax dollars, governmental agencies, partnerships, and we're very fortunate in this community that we work very, very well together. We do. It's incredibly unique for those of you that maybe do work in other municipalities, other towns. It's not always the case that your village and your schools and your parks and your library and everybody gets along and works together well. Also, I can say, and we'll touch on this a little bit, that we do very well with our partners at the county, at the state. We're very, very fortunate for that. There's very few mayors that can stand here and say something like that, and I'm very grateful that for the past 18 years I've been mayor, I could say that every year. But what we're discussing here today, although it's important stuff. It is buildings, brick and mortar, taxes, roads. What really matters most, and I think we all need to remember this, myself included, as we're busy in our everyday lives, is who we are as people. And it's easy to get caught up in our beliefs. It's easy to get caught up in what we see on TV or read on social media. But I think especially for what we've seen transpire recently, and not just in this past week, of course, which has kind of brought it to a head, but is sometimes our lack of compassion, our lack of kindness, our lack of respect. If anything's going to change, I look around this room and I see people with different political beliefs, different religious beliefs, come from different races, ethnicities. We may not share those tribal groups, but the one thing that we do share that can never change is that we're human beings. And each and every one of us, regardless of those other groups that we belong to, wants the same thing. We want our families to be safe and healthy, our communities to be safe, to be happy. That we share as a common bond. But there's only one person that's responsible for that, and that's us all as individuals and how we treat each other. So I'm glad that this community works well together at the business level. And that's critical for our practical needs. But I would just like to take a moment, not in silence, but just in reflection. What are we doing as individuals to make our community a better place? Because at the end of the day, all of these great projects that we talk about that are important, eventually they'll become old buildings, they'll be sold, some will be knocked down. That happens. But the legacy doesn't come in brick and mortar. The legacy comes in how we treat each other as human beings, because that is what we hope gets passed on from generation to generation. Not a building, not a business. So I just want to take a moment and just ask that we all kind of reflect on that and what we can do, myself included most certainly, to not just be good business partners, but better human beings for each other. Okay, thank you. That's enough of me from the pulpit. I will move on, and I have to start by saying thank you, of course, first of all, to Silver Cross. all the great projects that we have going on here, all the things we do. In reality, and I say this quite often, as Michael and Scott and the team know, I kind of peaked early in my career as mayor by supporting Silver Cross's move here, because there's nothing more important than quality health care and having families being able to stay close to home for every need. And this replacement hospital has turned into an incredible medical campus where all of your needs can be met. And so thank you not only for the lunch, for the room, but what you do for us in that most important desire to be happy and healthy. So Silver, thank you very much. We appreciate you. I want to thank Nancy Dye, who is the most recent podcast victim of mine. Her podcast on economic development went out yesterday, and within 24 hours has over 800 views on YouTube, and who knows how many more on Spotify and everywhere else. Nancy is our economic development coordinator. She puts this program together with me, working with staff, and if you listen, Too Honest for Social Media, don't forget to subscribe. That's the name of the podcast. But what I said in the very beginning of that is true. I have not met anybody that knows Nancy Dye that doesn't talk about her with the greatest respect. She's a wonderful person. She has represented this village in so many different ways, as an elected official, as an employee, more importantly, as a citizen. So Nancy, thank you for all that you do. We appreciate you. Yes. Emily Johnson and our Chamber of Commerce and Chamber Board and all their members, thank you for working with Nancy on this presentation. We appreciate your support of businesses and networking. We talk a little bit on the podcast about how important it is to bring in new businesses, but supporting our existing businesses is just as critical, if not more critical. So Emily and the Chamber do a wonderful job of that. We're very grateful for them. Don Winnie, who never gets enough credit, this is a guy who might be busier than me, running around making sure that he is dispensing information in different forms to our community so they can be informed. Don, thank you to you and all the volunteers that work with you. And to the Village Board of Trustees, again, as a mayor, not only am I fortunate to be able to have great governmental partners, but to serve with 6 individuals who have their own ideas and thoughts and contributions that they make to this community, but we share one vision, and that is for doing what's best for the residents of this town, for the businesses in this town, to improve the quality of life. We have great discussion. I'm just, again, you all read about and hear about, or perhaps have seen infighting that goes on in other places, and that doesn't happen here. That doesn't mean that we're always unanimous in our beliefs or in our votes, but we are united in our desire to make New Lenox the very best place to live, to shop, to own a business. And so to the board, thank you for that. I'm really very, very grateful for that. I appreciate you. Okay, next is our mission statement that is far too small for me to read. You can just imagine, I kind of summed it up for you. This is probably more eloquent than I just said, but that's really what we're about. We want to provide services to our community. We want to be a whole community where we look out for everybody, work hard for everybody, take care of everybody. Again, a lawyer probably wrote that, but that's our sum. That's what New Lenox is all about. So here's the agenda. Here's what we're going to go through. We're going to recognize our partners. We have some state and county officials here. We have representatives from Senator Hastings' office. State Representative DeLuca is here. Our county executive, Jennifer Bertino-Tarrant. Our state representative, Pat Sheehan. So Democrats, Republican, that's fine. What I can tell you is when I pick up the phone as mayor and call any one of those people, they never say, oh, here's this guy that feels this way. They say, here's the mayor who's representing his town. And each and every one of them is incredibly responsive and wants to do well by us. And a lot of the success that we have that relies on our officials at the county and state level has come from all of them. They have all contributed not only financially to us, but they have contributed with legislation. They've all done a great job, but I do want to recognize State Representative DeLuca is here. He's a former mayor, and he has pushed for years to try and get our local government distributive fund back to where it should be. It's not there, but it's increased because of Representative DeLuca and the support of the others in this room. They are all supportive of that, doing that for us. We're not where we should be, which means that if you listen to a different podcast, we're losing out on $1.6 million a year that should be coming our way from the income tax for that local government distributive fund. Money that we would use for services, but it would be, and it has been, a lot bigger loss if it wasn't for Representative DeLuca and our other representatives that support that. So thank you for your work in looking out for local government. We appreciate you. We're going to hear again from these other groups. This was something that was important to me years ago, to have this be the state of the village, the state of the community. The village is far more than just what we're doing at our hall. We are successful because we have great schools, because we have a great library, because we have a great township we work with, because we have a great fire protection district, because we have all of these people that you're going to hear from today. They work with us and everyone benefits from that. So we're going to hear from all of them. Unfortunately, our township supervisor, Cass Wendland, couldn't make it today, but he asked me to read some of the comments. You can see what's happening in the township. I said the Guy sells senior housing apartments. There are 24 apartments, 6 2-bedroom, 18 1-bedroom. The waiting list for 2-bedroom is 34 people, and for 1-bedroom is 50 people. You can see there's obviously a need, and people want to be here, but the township's doing a great job where they can. The food pantry. I think each and every one of you know that thought that the people who come to the food pantry are the most indigent, the most desperate. That's not always the case. There are people, many, many people, as they say, that are one paycheck away from big trouble. One missed paycheck away from big trouble. And so that food pantry is in constant need. And they are helping so many people. In August, they served 397 households, 1,065 individuals, and 218 of them were children 15 and younger. 218 children were served in our area that didn't have food, that had a food deficit. So we're going to talk about all the success in our community and in our area. But we can't have blinders on to suggest that everybody is sharing the same success that we are. There are those that are in need. So anytime we can do anything to support that, we appreciate it. They also provide transportation services. They average 550 rides a month servicing the township, and medical equipment. They have walkers, wheelchairs, toilets, shower chairs available to anyone in the township that is in need. So thank you to our new Lenox Township representatives and what they do. They are a very good partner with us. Next is Union School District 81, which I joke about that. I can't live on the lofty $18,000 a year you all pay me to be mayor. I think I got a pension, but other than that, I need a real job. And so for the last 14 years, I have served as the superintendent of Union School District 81. This is my last year. I retire at the end of this year. And when I came to that school, they were performing in the bottom 10% of all schools in Illinois, had a $6 million deficit. We're on the financial watch list, and we're borrowing money every March to pay their bills. We are now by niche ranked in the top 1% of elementary schools in the United States. We have built a university-style greenhouse that's taught by the master gardeners from the University of Illinois. Every day they come out and teach our kids. We have a STEM trailer for our kids, and we're actually taking our 7th and 8th graders to NASA for a week in April to do STEM training at NASA. We have no registration fees, free breakfast and lunch for all students. We have a perfect 4.0 score on our financial rating, 10 consecutive years of property tax rebates to our homeowners. They receive 100% of their property tax back, whether they have kids in the district or not, which is about 43% of their overall tax bill. So when I hear you state people talking about consolidating school districts, because it will be better for the taxpayer, you'll be screwing my people in Union. Leave them alone. We are totally debt-free, and we are a true free public education with zero cost for anyone or anything. So I'm very proud to have served there for the last 14 years. It is a phenomenal place with phenomenal families and staff, and I couldn't be happier. I've lived here for 31 years, which to some of you in the room, as I look around, I'm still a newbie, which I don't get it, but you know, I see Ed and Judy and others that look at me like I'm still a rookie here in New Lenox. But my oldest 2 children went to Schmuel School for kindergarten, which is that little museum across the street from the Walgreens. That shows how, Lori, you remember that. And my 3rd child was in the first graduating class at Cherry Hill that when it was a kindergarten for that. And I now have grandchildren that attend 122. 122 has done a phenomenal job, and Dr. Lori Motch will talk about the amount of kids that they have to service, the amount of staff they have, the buildings they have to maintain. It's really difficult. And I'm going to say this ahead of time before Lori talks and before Dr. Tingley talks. And this is, again, something that's covered. You're missing out on these podcasts if you're not listening. Something else that I covered. The state of Illinois now is ranked worst in the country for property taxes. Worst. We passed New Jersey. That's pretty bad. People say, it's schools. It's all going to schools. Well, a big chunk of it, 70% of your tax bill is going to schools, K through 12, college, that's where it's going. But as our state representatives know, the Constitution in Illinois calls for the state to provide the majority of public education, which even at its most basic might be 50.1% of the educational cost for students. Here in New Lenox, and I'm going to be off a little bit, but between the high school and the grade school, they're getting somewhere between maybe 10 and 13%. So just imagine if the state was able to provide, some of us are old enough to remember that's what the lottery was supposed to go for, but if the state was able to provide 50% of funding for public education, your property tax bills would be a lot lower. So I want to introduce Dr. Lori Motch and thank her ahead of time for all the great work she's doing in 122.
Well, I am so grateful to be standing here as your resident expert in all things 122 because it is my 31st year serving the district and my 6th year as the proud superintendent. For those of you who do not know, District 122 serves close to 5,000 pre-K through 8th grade students across 12 school buildings and 32 square miles. We employ over 600 incredible staff members. Today, I'd like to share 3 takeaways because we have 3 minutes, right, Nancy?
I don't have a timer.
Oh, we don't? Oh, this changes everything.
Remember, I got to get back to that other job.
Oh, I love it. Okay, so first, 122 is financially healthy. That's what I want you to remember. We have maintained a balanced budget for 11 consecutive years with no new debt since 2013. We've completed $36 million in building upgrades since 2013 using cash reserves. We have an S&P bond rating of AA, and we have received the Illinois State Board of Education financial recognition and the Certificate of Excellence in Financial Reporting for 4 straight years. Most importantly, though, we provide exceptional opportunities for our students. We provide excellence in academics. We provide comprehensive in-house special education programs, and I have 2 of my parents here, and I can say that family members are moving to this community for our special education programs. Can't I say that honestly? Yes, okay. We provide a wide range of extracurricular opportunities, including band, choir, orchestra. We've got a great theater program. We have excellent athletics. Last year, we had state champs in boys golf, 8th grade girls basketball, and girls shot put for the first time. And our Board of Education has been recognized for their exceptional governance by the Illinois Association of School Boards, which means we have a very functioning Board of Education. However, what makes 122 especially unique, and Mayor Baldermann spoke of it, is the way we are supported by this community. So we always say it's not the staff that takes care of our kids, it's all the people in this room. So we rely on our police and fire for not only safety, but also for providing safety education within our schools. We rely on our library for enrichment both in and out of our schools. The district and our family, and I won't say it's my favorite partner because I got in trouble for that last time, but we rely very heavily on our park district because they are my favorite, you know that. We rely heavily on them. They provide all of our before and after school care in our schools. We thank our chamber for providing fun family activities, and we partner with Lincoln Way 210 and Lincoln Way 843 Special Ed Co-op for our transportation. But a very special shout out to Mayor Baldermann, the village board, the village planners, for not only helping us predict our enrollment trends every year, but also for putting our kids at the forefront of your planning. And this was apparent with the opening of the Children's Museum, which promotes the importance of play. So being in the business of working with early childhood, we know the importance of play. And right now, the kids that are coming to us, they're growing up in a screen-based childhood, which is very, very sad. So to have a space dedicated to play is not only beneficial for our students in our school district, but for the entire community. So thank you so much. Lastly, our school community is fortunate to have an excellent parent-teacher organization. It services all 12 schools. Not only do they successfully fundraise, but they have really fun community events, so come join us. And if you want to learn more about our district, we have a comprehensive website, and we're all over social media. So find out what's going on in our schools, and it is just it is an honor to serve this community. So thank you.
Well, I won't say I'm going to introduce my favorite superintendent because I don't play favorites. You know, Louis, you always find a way to sucker your way into something. But it is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Scott Tingley again. I talk about my kids. Actually, my wife and all 5 of my children are graduates of Lincoln Way schools. Actually, Lincoln Way Central, all 6 of them. And that's why they're all smarter than I am. So, Dr. Scott Tingley.
Thank you. We'll go real quick and try to save some time here. I won't go through all the numbers that are on the board. One thing I do want to highlight, we had 10 perfect ACTs for our current senior class. That's the most we've ever had. In fact, that's outstanding. So we did have 10 district-wide. We have almost half of our students. Our goal is to get to half that are enrolled in either AP or dual credit courses. We have developed 7 career and college pathways. That's something new and something the state of Illinois is pushing. We now have culinary arts. We have teaching, believe it or not, as we're facing shortages of teachers. We are working with St. Francis. We have students, juniors and seniors, who go out in the afternoons, work at 122, work at Mokina, trying to get that pathway into the careers. We had 1 student last year, our first student last year graduated with their associate's degree from Lincoln Way West. So in their 4 years, They left and they were able to get an associate's from Joliet Junior College on their way out the door. So we're proud of that, and there'll be more of those that are coming through the pathways. 70 clubs and activities. We have a very high teacher retention rate, but I want to speak to the graph on the side there. One of the greatest accomplishments of both our previous boards, current board, and probably my administrative time was managing our long-term debt. When I took over, we were in a very, very bad place. And so we've been able to manage that debt. All those bars going across, we have 10 years where we're paying almost $30 million in bonds off. We were able to refinance all of that at under 2%. And the reason we leveled it off is as the mayor will talk about development and more businesses coming in, as more homes are built, that portion of everyone's current tax bill then goes down because it's a flat dollar amount. As you can see, then it drops off to almost half. Our current board came up with a policy that we will not ever extend debt past 12 years. In 2 years, we'll revisit that and we'll go back to 10. 2 years more, probably at 9, and then we'll roll it back. The plan is every 2 years, we'll go back and see what do we need to do to improve the facilities at the buildings. This money will never be used for salaries or benefits. This is to be used on structures. Those last 2 bars that you see of 15 million, beginning next summer, we will be redoing all the HVAC and boilers at Lincoln Way East and all the HVAC at Lincoln Way Central. As many of you know, over time we've built on. We are now going to build cohesive systems that will talk to one another within those buildings. We'll be good then for 30 years. But by doing so, we did have to add 2 years of 15 million. In 2 years when they come back, they'll only have to add 1 and it will not be 15 million. 2 years after that, I won't be around, but they'll I hope I'm around, but not, I won't be in the decision-making process. But you see what I'm saying? We're very cognizant of that. Even with our bond debt, we are still very comparable in all tax rates of all surrounding high school districts. Once we're able to get these 10 years behind us, we'll be significantly lower, which is a goal, as we are cognizant of those current tax rates. That's all I have. Once again, as Lori said, great partnerships, ditto with everyone, and thank you for your time this morning.
All right, thank you, Dr. Tingley. I appreciate that. Next up is Greg Lewis, everyone's favorite from our New Lenox Community Park District. Even though, just like me, he has some woman behind the scenes that's really doing all the heavy lifting, Leah, so it's nice to see you. Greg, here you go, pal.
Thank you, I think.
Right, there you go.
Well, I can say the Park District is probably the poster child for the partnership. So we can't do what we do without everybody in the room. The village, the schools, the fire department, the police department, our county officials, our legislators. We're very dependent. And with that, when we talk about partnerships, I think the biggest thing that jumps off the page to me is that we put our kids to work. We put our active adults to work. We put our adults to work. This year alone, and a lot of it's got to do with the Crossroads Sports Complex, we hired 121 employees since April. Unheard of. I have a great staff. I have a great board. We operate on 22 cents. That covers about 30% of our budget in tax money. So that means that our user fees pick up the rest. That's unheard of. So here again, I can't do what we do without everybody's facilities letting us in there to use them. Is it easy? No. It takes a lot of communication. It takes a lot of cooperation. But that's how we're built here. And nobody else can figure it out. We've talked about this forever. As far as transparency with our budget, we operate in the black. 17 years of consecutive with the Certificate of Achievement through the Government Finance Award. Parks and development. We just opened Water Chase Park. 4 dedicated pickleball. That's all you hear. Courts there. With that being said, we're in the process of redeveloping Sharon's Bay Park, which I never thought we'd age out a park. But I have been here that long, so we're in the process of redeveloping that. That's in Sharon's Bay. And here again, the partnership relationships, working with the village staff, working with developers. Pulte Homes has stepped up. First turnkey park. When Tearling Lakes comes on board, there's a 5-acre park when you drive in there that's going to be turned over to the park district. To build a park now is about a $1.2 million operation. And as that operation and as that development goes, there's a 10-acre conservation area that will be turned over to the park district too. Unheard of. Why are we doing it? Because our parks sell homes. Our services sell homes. It's incredible. I mean, nobody can figure it out, and that's good. I'm going to keep it a secret. We maintain 597 acres of turf for athletic sites, with some are with the school, with our property, 3.5 miles of trail, and 41 parks and athletic sites. The golf course, Sanctuary Golf Course, anybody ever heard of that? Our driving range budget increased by 450% because of the top tracer that we were able to build out there. 70,000 range balls are on that site now. We're home to Lincoln Way West, Lincoln Way Central, and 2 junior high golf teams now. It's phenomenal. Great staff, home to a lot of outings. We've reinvested. We always reinvest. Cart pass, new equipment. We try to put everything back in. From a recreation standpoint, active adults 261 participants, adult leagues 132, athletic leagues 1,421, early childhood, and the list goes on and on. But our core here, the child care, what we can do to the community, keep our people active, and then I'm not even going to touch what we do with the sports complex. We'll be in a meeting later today, and I'm sure you're going to cover it, but it's just incredible, the opportunities that are out there for the community and for our people. So I can't thank the mayor enough, the staff of the village, and everybody in this room. I mean, thank you very much, and we'll continue to do our best, not to disappoint. So thank you.
Thank you, Greg. Next is our New Lenox Fire Protection District and Chief Adam Riegel.
Morning, everyone. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, the Board of Fire Commissioners, and the members of the Fire Protection District, thank you for all coming today and finding out a little bit about the community. Like everybody said, we live in a great community. Yeah, it's great partnerships, and we all work together to do this best we can to help everybody succeed. A little bit about us. We run 4 fire stations under 32 square miles that we protect. Last year we ran about 5,600 calls, which equals about 15 calls per day for service. So our 17 members that protect the streets every day are pretty busy, just getting busier with everything going on in town. We do run, all of our vehicles are ALS, which is Advanced Life Support. So every one of our vehicles, from ambulances to fire trucks, has paramedics on it. Which is important for the size of the community. So a lot of times you'll see a fire truck out and it'll come to an ambulance call, and we get that question a lot. Why is the fire truck there? Well, we use GPS on every one of our vehicles, so that may have been the closest vehicle at the time of the call to you. So in an emergency, it's important to get somebody there as quick as possible. We're utilizing technology to make sure we do that and do it successfully. So we try to run a very tight budget. As you all know, in 2018, we passed a referendum in the town. We're still one of the lowest taxing fire protection districts in the area. So we try to be very frugal with all the money that we have, which our board has done a great job with managing. All of our vehicles have been updated. We're able to get an ISO Class 2, which is a insurance service rating of 2. Only 1,700 districts in the nation have that rating. That is a community rating, which again, like we talked about, goes back to the water department, public works, everybody coming together to be able to achieve that. Our members are all part of MABUS Division 19, which is a mutual aid box alarm system that allows us to have specialty teams, technical rescue teams, hazmat teams, allows all the departments in the area to join together for those specialty things that we can't all just do on our own to, again, save money for all the communities. So we assist other people with that, and then they come in to assist us as well. The biggest thing I'm probably proud of is our life safety division. Marissa Tomich, our life safety coordinator, is in the schools all the time, teaching to older adults to fall communities. Our life safety division is out doing inspections in the buildings. Again, back to that ISO class 2, without the building owners, the business owners helping to pass along all that stuff, we wouldn't be able to achieve that. So those groups are great. They're doing a lot of good work in the community, from everybody from preschool kids all the way up through older adults, making sure that we help with falls and stuff in the home. It's all kinds of different programs we have out there. We could go on for a long time about it, but I don't want to get pulled off the stage by the mayor. So I will end with, if you have any questions, please stop in and see us. We like to talk to everybody. You're always welcome to stop by one of the fire stations, stop by our headquarters, Station 1 by the Metro tracks. We'd be happy to talk to you and show you what all we have going on. So thank you.
I have a pacemaker. The one guy I wouldn't pull off is the guy that sends the ambulance. So, all right, next up, and this always amazes me when I hear these numbers, is our new Lenox Public Library, Michelle Krooswyk. I think for those of us like me who've been around long enough that we would go flip through the Dewey Decimal System in a card rack that doesn't exist anymore. Exactly. It's just amazing all that they do. And so I always appreciate when Michelle speaks and talks about what they provide for our community. So thank you for being here.
A new mom attending story time to connect with other moms and immerse her child in early literacy. A teen attending teen advisory group as a safe and welcoming space to share ideas and connect with other students. A senior attending morning coffee, learning about Medicare and connecting with other seniors. A local business owner connecting with our resources and materials to support their business, and maybe even partnering with the library to present on a topic on their area of expertise. These are just a few of the patrons that come to our library on a regular basis. My name is Michelle Krooswyk, and I am honored to serve alongside my amazing staff and dedicated board of trustees as the executive director of the New Lenox Public Library for the past 9 years. So I mentioned before, a couple of our patron types, and as an information professional, let's go to the data to see more. We've had over 139,000 library visits, so we are thriving. We're back to pre-COVID numbers. And part of our building too, as you can see on the screen here, we're almost done with our cafe renovation, which will be a self-serve space anytime the library is open. And we're in the midst of a master plan for phased renovations of the library. We've had over 263,000 items borrowed, which includes digital content that you can access from your phone, and 138,000 website visits that we call that our 24/7 digital branch, so you can find what you need on there no matter the time of day. Over 3,000 public service hours. We are open 7 days a week thanks to our referendum, so we're open 12 to 4 on Sundays too. And 51,000 reference questions over that. Take that, Google. Libraries aren't dying. We are thriving, so just put that out there. 11,000 cardholders plus. You can get your card right now if you scan this QR code free of charge. If you are a business, you can get an annual card free of charge as well. We have study rooms for the community and people to utilize, and for people who can't physically come to the library, we have a home delivery service. After working 23 years in public libraries, 3 states, 5 library systems, I'm going to echo exactly what everyone else said, because this data cannot reflect certain things. And that is, in this situation, the amazing New Lenox community. It's the connections, it's the partnerships. Every day I come to work, that's one of the things that I love the most. So to every one of you that I've worked with in this room, and I've worked with many of you, I appreciate you and your passion to serve and support our community. And with that, happy National Library Card Sign-Up Month. Thank you again, Nancy, for September. Like I said, get out your phone, get your tax dollars worth, get your card. And with that, I thank you very much for your time, and we hope you reconnect at the library.
All right, thank you very much, Michelle. Thank you to all of our speakers. I appreciate it. Let's have a look at our agenda here. We're going to talk about our development focus. We're going to talk about development updates. how we communicate, how transparent we try to be, our community engagement, and then we'll open it for any questions that you may have. So, our development focus. So we're going to look at 355 and Route 6, of course, right outside our doors right here. It really did start many years ago with Silver Cross coming to this location in the middle of nowhere, down the street from where they were, but still in the middle of nowhere, and have continued to grow. So to our CEO and President, Michael Mutterer, and to your entire staff, we want to say thank you. You do provide first-class healthcare, and we'll get into that in another slide, but it really is the cornerstone of everything that's happening here. It's why people want to come here, and when we talk, Nancy and I and our staff talk with potential developers, we talk about the 2.2 million visitors a year that come to this campus. So if you want to open a business, this is the place to be, right here. Okay, we have our Wintrust Sports Roads complex. If we can flip to that, I'll show you that. This, of course, there's about 103 acres, 14 of it for commercial use out front. We have already constructed our baseball fields. As you know, we've had a successful first year of tournaments coming out. That's really going to be tournament play March through November, because it's baseball, it's softball, it is lacrosse, it's soccer. We have our local football teams that are renting fields. So it really is something special. As far as the sports complex goes, there's also our chill zone, which is a beer garden, but if you've been in there, it's really quite remarkable. The Park District, we have an intergovernmental agreement with the Park District. The village is the sole owner of the entire complex, but because of partnerships, and you don't have to look that far to the east to see where villages and park districts are fighting over something like this. Because of our partnership with the Park District, they hire all the staff that is running the concessions, the beer garden, and I don't even like calling it a beer garden because it's more of a restaurant with what it has, as well as the maintenance of the fields. They do a tremendous, tremendous job for us, and we are really excited. Next to this is right here, you can see this large parcel. We are now in design work with our staff, with Tria Architecture and Northern Builders. Northern did a great job of turning this outdoor sports complex around very quickly. Many of you commented about how fast it was built. That was Northern's tremendous work that they did out there. Matt, thank you to you and your team. And we've done a lot of work with them. We've done a lot of work with Tria Architecture. Jim is here today from Tria. We are now, as a matter of fact, we have a meeting at 2:30. We are going into design to build that indoor complex, which will be about 130 to 140,000 square foot facility that will be have a terrace level with another restaurant type bar in there. It will have, even though I will tell you now, it's going to have 8 full-size basketball courts and 16 volleyball courts. We've studied what we need in order to attract teams to come here, tournament teams to come here. It will also have additional flooring options, so it can be a 12-month facility. It can be used for trade shows. It can be used for a whole assortment of things. So it's used 12 months a year. And we'll add additional parking as well. So we're excited about getting that going. And we made an agreement when I met with them and staff the other day that I wouldn't put a timeline on it, but it will be ready by the fall of 27. So, any problems with that, guys? All good? All right, thank you. We may own this. And the reason that the village went into this business, number one, there's a real need for travel sports locations. There's nothing within 100 miles that even comes close to this. Some are trying to build some are trying to keep up with the new Lenox Joneses. It's not working that well. There's nothing within 100 miles. But the reason that we did it, not private developers, is because the sports complex itself, your hope is that it pays the bills for the sports complex and maybe a little bit more. But what it attracts, the 14 acres. And so, and not only that, We have Lot 8, as you can see on the far northeast section, under contract right now with a dual brand hotel. I had a successful meeting with staff and another developer that's going to take lots 3, 4, 5, and 6. And they are looking to put another dual brand full service hotel, as well as a great restaurant and a shopping area where there'll be some convenience stores, additional food options. And then we have a letter of intent with lots 1 and 2 as well. And they're going through their design right now and their ideas. They're looking at like a 20,000 square foot food hall that will have 6 maybe quality food options with a large dining area, which is great not only for the sports complex, certainly for the hospital, for their staff, for families that are here. I say this all the time because I've been a patient here far too often, but this cafeteria has actually got good food, but it is the only option. And so people need additional options in this area. So we're excited about that development that's going to happen there. But the village is also successful when there's development in areas that we don't own. And across the street are 68 acres, Spring Creek, and we have representatives from them here. They are doing work. You've seen the earthwork that's happening over there, where they're looking to bring the same type of development that we have going on our 14 acres. Restaurant options, shopping options. We're working with them right now to move forward with that. That's critical. As I said last year, this land stayed vacant for a long time because we just kept getting requests to put industrial up here, trucking. Now, everyone gets upset about trucks, but then orders from Amazon. There's a need. There's a need for trucks. There's a need for business parks. There's a reason why they exist. But next to a hospital, often interchanged with the greatest access, 355, I-80, 57 just 15 minutes to the east, well, the way I drive, 8 minutes. 55, 8 minutes to the west. This is the place. And so we said, yes, we have the Cherry Hill Business Park, which is wonderful in our community off Gauger Road, right close to I-80. That's where we like to keep our trucks and our industrial growth. Away from homes, away from hospitals and businesses, and it's successful, and I think we're successful. But Spring Creek, across the street with nearly 70 acres, we benefit from that as a village because we get the sales tax, the hospitality tax for that. And that is going to be successful because we invested in our own town by building this sports complex. That, coupled with the growth of the hospital, and they continue to grow, is what makes developers interested in coming to not only our location, but across the street. And we're going to talk about residential development that's coming to this area as well, because you need rooftops, and we're seeing that success. So thank you again to our partners with our construction and to our potential developers for that land and across the street. We appreciate you doing business here in New Lenox. Next we have, there you can see the complex. It's amazing. You can see those fields, all artificial turf next to the hospital. And we've talked to the Park District, we're going to be opening up that chill zone. We're putting some different equipment in there so the community can come out and utilize it 7 days a week. We're going through our policies for that now. Hospital staff can come over and get some lunch and dinner and hang out. It's a great place to be. All right, thank you. Mm-hmm. All right, you can see all the tournaments, a sampling of the tournaments that are booked September, October. This is just on the website. We have tournaments organizers that are trying to meet with us now. Some are looking for extended long-term contracts to fill up every weekend. So there is a high demand for play at our complex. All right, a different type of redevelopment. This is Route 30 and Cedar. Between Cedar and Prairie, you've got Cedar there, you've got Prairie there, the fire station across the street. These parcels in yellow, the village has control now. We own those. We're going to talk a little bit about the infamous roundabout and what we had to do with some of the property, but we control those areas. There are others that we are talking to. The hope is to redevelop that triangle, and we've already started to have some success with that that we'll talk about. But that's a big part of our redevelopment in what is the center of our town, right there at 30 and Cedar. We have the patio restaurant has already signed on to come over at the eastern end. They're building a 9,000 square foot restaurant. If any of you are familiar with the patio, they've got fantastic food. If you came from the south side like I did, you're familiar with them. They're going to have a great, I think it's, Rob, was it 260 seats or something along those lines with the drive-through? Yes. So it's going to be a great portion. That big piece that you saw where we took down the old Silver Cross Medical Building and knocked it down, that's where the patio restaurant is going on. So we already have a great anchor for 30 and Cedar. When we get together regularly, the board and the staff, we set long-term goals like any governmental agency does. So we talked about what are our priorities. Well, obviously, financially, we want to be stable. We want to be very stable with what we have. All right, the bottom line, what that basically says is, and Kim Walkstetter, our finance director, isn't here, but her and her team do a great job. Like any responsible government, if you can, you want to have a set number of reserves, 3 months, at a minimum. We have invested in our own community with the purchase of land up there, and we still are looking at 10 months in reserves. 10 months in reserves. Now, there's a reason why we are keeping our reserve level higher than we normally would, and that's because we are doing so much investing in ourselves that you have to prepare in case the unforeseen happens. And the unexpected happens. And so we're going to make sure that we continue to develop and grow the way that we want to, and then we have those additional reserves in case there's any issues. So financially, we're in very, very good shape. One of our others, of course, is the development and redevelopment, one of our strategic plans that I talked about the downtown area. We have a growing industrial base, where we said we want that to grow responsibly in the right areas. That's happening. We have some new industrial projects. We have the self-storage over off Faro Drive at the cul-de-sac there. Chick Please, and we have representatives from Chick Please. This is going to, I would assume, floor you like it does me. Ed, tell me again, you make the beans for...
Yeah, we process beans for
the
majority of canners and QSRs in the country. One of our major QSRs.
Yeah,
Chipotle.
You make all the black beans for Chipotle in the country, right?
100%.
Yeah, so if you eat a black bean in California at Chipotle, it came out of New Lenox. So, I mean, that's pretty amazing when you think about it. Ed's built a beautiful building in this area, but if you think about, and I don't want to is it Aldi that you do? Like any black bean that you buy from any Aldi in the country or any Chipotle came out of New Lenox. That's pretty amazing. That's good. I don't eat it myself, but that's pretty amazing. That's great to see. We've got a 16,500 square foot building going on 3.5 acres on Money Drive, and lots 8 and 9, a plank trail that's at Harvey and Center Road, 2 buildings with a parking lot. So again, we have a larger business park, and then the existing park that's been there for decades on the east side of town, off Schoolhouse. Some of that's ours, some of that's unincorporated, but we're getting growth in all different areas. Stable leadership. And I don't know if you'd call me stable, but it is really, really important. None of us is going to be around forever. And so we are very happy with the way things are going in New Lenox, but we have to ensure that we've got a strong bench. And that is one of our strategic goals because we have people that are getting closer to retiring. And so here's some of what we've done. We've invested in some additional employees, an assistant finance director, now that we've taken on the sports complex, the children's museum. Our finance department was just overworked. So we brought on assistant finance director, the finance assistant administrator for the sports complex, assistant director for the sports complex. We're hiring a marketing professional. That's important. That's important, and we're going to get into some more of the things that we do. We have always promoted our community, but we are getting so large and we are doing so many big things that it's important that we have a streamlined, unified message, and so we're bringing on someone with marketing that can help pull it all together for us. Facilities laborers that are dedicated to KidsWork and the Crossroads Complex. Funds for a new police officer. We have to support the complex, of course, with the people that come up here and the growth that we're having. Our police department is incredibly important to us. And our new police chief, Mike Anesi, is here. Chief, thank you to Lou Alessandrini for his many years of service. But we have a police department that has such an incredibly strong bench. Deputy Chief Perry, Deputy Chief Tilton, and our sergeants, our patrol officers, all of our staff. Policing is so critical and it's come under such scrutiny. But here in this town, our community supports our police, and they support our police because they're incredibly professional, incredibly ethical, and they do a great job. So Chief Nessi's off to a great start. We appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, now we could go ahead. Another strategic plan, of course, infrastructure and maintenance. These are not things that are, flashy. You go ahead. You can turn that. But the water resource recovery facility, the sewer plant, one up here near the hospital, one at Route 30 in Cedar. That some of you have been here for a long time remember the stink. It's gotten much better because of our public works staff. And one in the middle of a residential subdivision on Jackson Branch. Now, of course, when the planners were laying this out 50 years ago, they had no idea what New Lenox was going to look like. So you can't fault them for where these things are. But the treatment plant at the center of town is at capacity. The one at Jackson Branch is at near capacity. So we had to make a decision. Do we throw money at those old facilities that are really in poor locations, or do we build a new water resource recovery facility, which is what we're doing now west of Gauger, south of Laraway? It was going to be further east, but we had a meeting with over 600 community members that said, we don't want it here, can you find another location? And we did. We were successful in being able to move it away, but what'll end up happening, and I'll show you on a slide in a second, is we will eventually shut down those other wastewater treatment plants, those resource recovery facilities, and pipe all of that out to this new facility, and they would just become pump stations. We'll clear them out, we'll clean them out, it'll look much nicer for the town and be far more efficient and build capacity so as we grow, we have the capacity to hold it here and add on. So you can see the piping. You look at how, here's treatment plant 2 in Jackson Branch in that residential neighborhood that I'm talking about. You have treatment plant 1 up here off Route 6, off Route 30, and then we have one up north. But that will all be closed. You can see these lines in different phases. Look at all that pipe we have to run through town to be able to get to this facility. Now, this is over a $100 million project. We're also building redundant water line for Lake Michigan Water. Our end of that is close to $40 million. We've replaced water main on Route 30, water main on Cedar Road. Mark Brower, our Public Works Director, is here. He and his staff do a great job with that. And Will, our engineer, is here as well, Will Nash. These are things that, nobody loves to talk about around the dinner table, but if you're not doing this, you're not going to have long-term quality of life in your community. And we made the decision to do these things. And it's a tough decision because the cost of water is a source of contention for a lot of people. We know that. But imagine not having the appropriate wastewater treatment plant or water lines to be able to deliver that Lake Michigan water. Your home values will plummet. No one will want to live here. So these are the tough decisions we've made, and it's a zero sum. We don't make money off of any of this. Our water bills, our sewer bills, they go just for infrastructure and for the commodity itself. That's it. So it is expensive, but it's part of living in a nice community. Okay, and what we do is we phase, you can hold on. We phase that construction as Dr. Tingley had talked about, because you want, as people are coming in, they're paying for it. It's not just everybody who's here now. We phase it in like that, and so it impacts the people who are here, and in the future, they're paying their share as well. All right, other infrastructure improvements, everyone talks about the roundabout. Some guy, I love this kid actually, he's a great kid. He made an egg for me at Easter, said thanks a lot, Tim, with the picture of the roundabout on it. But he AI'd my statue, a statue of me, for the middle of the roundabout. And sadly, 50% of the people thought it was real. So that just tells you why you need to stay off of social media. I told Nancy, we're going to show you the actual roundabout picture in a minute. But anyway, this roundabout, for those of you that have ever traveled outside of this area, you know how efficient roundabouts are. Despite what the Facebook engineers will tell you, the real engineers have looked at this and studied it for a long time, and this is the safest. That intersection, for all of you that have traveled there, people said, I never saw an accident there. I said, you're right. You didn't, because nobody moved. Everybody stopped and stared at each other. You go. No, dummy, you got the stop sign, I don't. And then 6 cars that were headed west would all go at the same time, so no one else could go because they got tired of waiting. This will keep the flow of traffic going. It'll be much safer. For the handful of homes that are over there that are impacted, I feel bad because it's been a rough few months for them. Oh, that's the other thing. The Facebook engineers can't believe how long it's taken, even though it's only been like 4 months and you've got to move utilities and lines and everything else. But it's really going to be a great addition to that area and keeping traffic moving better. And that's the roundabout that you will see in the spring. We're going to have the roundabout open. Will, where's Will? He's not here. Roundabout open in late October, right, Kurt? We're still on track for that. When I saw Will yesterday, he said, that's the plan. I said, no, that's not the plan. That's the reality. So that will be open for us late October. And then in the spring, we'll have a nice water feature, New Lenox, home of proud Americans, with a water component to it. So for the first car that hops it and smashes into it, we will hope they have insurance. Okay. New businesses coming. The reality is we have very few vacancies. Now, we had that old Pizza Hut that sat there for years, and the TJ's that when I moved here 31 years ago, I actually went into TJ's, and I think it closed shortly thereafter. But there are backstories for why those didn't get replaced right away, but they're done. They're done. We got a great Mexican restaurant where the Pizza Hut used to be. We're going to talk about the business that's coming in a minute there. So we have very few vacancies along Route 30. And you can see the new businesses that have come in, over 150 over the last few years, new owners investing in existing businesses. People want to be here in New Lenox. You can see some of these businesses that have come in. And Nancy, God, I'm just shamelessly plugging this podcast, but Nancy did talk about how she has a long list of people that are saying, hey, please call me if anything opens. We want in. And it just, what they're looking for just doesn't exist. just go ahead, our census. We keep growing based on census formulas. In reality, we're about 30,000 people. And I talk about this often. You hear everything that we're discussing today, all of the good things that are happening. And think about that. That's for a town of 30,000 people. You go to another town with 30,000 people and tell me that they've got everything going on that we have going on. They don't. I assure you they don't. It is really, people want to live here. And you'll see in the next slide the permits that have been issued. Of course, you've got a couple of recessions that are in there, but the single family homes, and we had a great Lincoln Station multifamily development that opened at 30 and Prairie that's at near capacity. I mean, it's one occupancy. It is wonderful over there. It is good to see. Go ahead, Nancy. You keep looking. Here's some of the developments that are coming. Prairie Ridge and Prairie Ridge North, which are east of Gauger, just north of Route 6. It's where that one giant home on Gauger that we all want until tax bill time. Just north of that, you'll see it. It consists of single family and duplexes that are under construction. Calistoga, single family homes being built on the south side of town. So you're all the way north. Now you're all the way south behind Burkhart's. There I have a total of 95 homes. Lakes Park at Laraway and Shear, as far east as southeast as you can go in our community. 92 single family residents, 26 duplex lots for 52 units. 100 townhomes on 70 acres. Go ahead, Nancy. Jacobs Field, a great subdivision off Laraway and Gauger. 10 lots are unpermitted. There were 100 homes to start that are nearing completion. Sky Harbor Townhomes at Schoolhouse in Laraway. You can see there 45 residences are planned. Spencer Meadows, west of Spencer Road, south of Laraway. You can see that Laraway corridor is exploding with residential. So we're excited about that. Tierling Lakes, which is the Tierling property. John and Lois Tierling, I've known them a long time. Unfortunately, John passed. One of the most beautiful pieces of property, 223 acres of rolling hills. We put together a development with Pulte. They are going to be building ranch and two-story single-family homes, close to 500 homes, and 200 plus are going to be deed restricted for 55 and older. It's kind of a section to itself. Pat, I'm sorry, buddy, I have to say this, but when they looked at that, as we all know or should know, school district lines and village lines are not the same. The 55 and older, part of the issue with these 223 acres, people who wanted single family homes, they wanted to be in the Lincoln Way School District, and it's divided there. And so what Pulte is doing is they're putting their deeded 55 and older homes in the section that doesn't send kids to Lincoln Way, and the residential homes that will send kids to Lincoln Way. And so it really has worked out well, but there is a waiting list. You can go online and check it out. People waiting to get started with them right away. Talking about New Lenox and the fact that people want to be here. The Tribune did an article. They talked about since 2018, New Lenox prices have risen by a greater percentage than anywhere else. Anywhere else. We looked in all Will County, southern Cook County. We've seen a 64.7% increase in home prices here in New Lenox. And you can see the other towns around here that follow us. So for you realtors in the group, that's good to know. That's good to know that selling homes in New Lenox, the prices are going up. People want to live in our community, and it's for the reasons that we spoke about today. Because of our schools, because of our parks, because of our libraries, because of the amenities the village offers, all the things we do, people want to live here, and the home prices reflect that. Okay, our growth is incredibly competitive. With the exception of one massive apartment complex that Lockport built, we have more housing permits than any of our neighbors. At 637 since 2021. And you just saw all the residential growth that's coming to our town. That adds construction value. When we look at the construction value, since 2021, 214 plus million in single family homes permits, almost 79 million in multifamily, and 192 million plus in commercial and industrial. Total construction value of the remodels now have been 78.5 million for single family, multifamily, and 114 million for our commercial and industrial. Total construction value, oh wait, that was the remodels. Our partnership with state agencies, we talked a little bit about this before. You've got the IDOT, Toll Highway, EPA. We couldn't do what we do if it wasn't for our partnerships with these state agencies, and we do rely on our state legislators to make phone calls for us, to help us out with that. Route 6 is a state road. U-355 is the tollway. So as we were building this complex, as the hospital was being built, as they continue to build, we need to work with the tollway. We need to work with IDOT. And they've been very good to work with. And again, a thank you, because we pick up the phone regularly to call our state legislators and say, please make a phone call for us, help us out, and they always do. They're constantly there having our back, helping us get through that process. So we're grateful for that. Premier healthcare. Again, nothing more, all the great things we talked about, none of it matters if you're not healthy. None of it matters if you're not healthy. Look at Silver Cross. The Anna Robert Lurie Children's Hospital of Chicago for on-site pediatric specialists, and the Amy, Matthew, and Jay Vanna Neonatal Intensive Care Unit. Michelle was here a second ago, she stepped out, but we just had at our KidsWork Museum a reunion with the hospital for kids, NICU kids and families. The place was packed. It was amazing to see these kids that, but for the quality health care close to home, may have had a different, more dire outcome. But because we have this in our community, that gives everybody a better chance to stay healthy. And so we're grateful for that. The Shirley Ryan Ability Lab for Inpatient Outpatient Rehabilitation, University of Chicago Cancer Care Center, University of Chicago Medicine for Neurosciences and Stroke Care, U.S. Health Vest for Behavioral Care, Silver Cross in Silver Oaks, which opened across the street, 110 bed mental health hospital on this campus, and Rush University System for Heal and for lung care, healing for lung care. Your physical health, your mental health, nothing more important. And right here in our town, right down the street, you can get it or be close to your family members that need it, because we're all going to need it at some point or another. And again, Michael, I can't thank you enough for what you do. Talking about partnerships, we talk about the governmental agencies that are supposed to work together, but our partnerships with local businesses, many of you in this room, and our partnership with our quality healthcare is truly what makes this a phenomenal, phenomenal town. But we also like to have fun. So, community engagements. Think about this. Again, we talked about a town of 30,000 people. Now we know that a lot of people come here to our community. Beth Alderson and her community engagement department, think about what they're doing for our town. We've got our farmers market, movie nights, chalkwalk, scarecrow stroll, our great fireworks, no better fireworks in any town anywhere around. Fridays after 5, our Loyalty Day parade that has existed for decades. Thanks to the Athens family for that. That continues here. Our pumpkin smash, which Nancy said, I don't know if you're going to want to talk about this, 660 pounds of pumpkin were smashed. So kids had a lot of fun doing that. Our Ladies' Night Out, where we can promote businesses run by our women in town. Food Fight Taco Fest, Cruise to Commons, last call before fall. And then, of course, we have our concert series that has gone on for 16 years. That has been just amazing. Again, I like to say this, a town of 30,000 had a Beatle on the stage last year. And for me, Smokey Robinson just as great. So you think about two unbelievable talents that were there. But we do so much more. Look at this, our Christmas in the Commons. Santa, which when we announced Santa, everybody was on board. There was no controversy whatsoever about having an 18,000 LED light Santa. God, I never heard so much bitching in my life about a Santa Claus. But it's on everybody's Christmas card. Everybody's Christmas card. Well, guess what? You're the first to know that Santa's going to have a friend joining him in the Commons this year, and that's all you're getting, although Beth and her crew are leaving hints for you. But think about this. You talk about marketing your town. For all of you, that's important in this room. People need to know about New Lenox. 2,582 letters were dropped off in the mailbox for Santa that represented 91 different communities. Jennifer, is Jennifer still here? Where are we at? Okay, I think there's 47 towns in Will County or whatever. 91 different communities were in the Commons, dropping off letters to Santa. Now, there are others that I'm sure didn't that were here. So while they're here, what are they doing? They're shopping. They're buying gas, you hope. They're going to be staying here. So we talk about our hotel developers that are coming. A lot of these people came from out of state that come here because they come to visit family. We market our community and our Christmas in the Commons, which is free for everything unless you shop with our vendors that are there. Horse-drawn wagon rides, and there's just so many great things, visits with Santa and characters. It's really phenomenal. If you've never been, please make sure you come out, but it is special. Now, communication and transparency. I cannot stand social media. I can't. And I've had other mayors say to me years ago, what are you doing on social media talking to people? I said, well, that's how they want to talk. I said, gone are the days of the party line. We have to communicate with people the way that they want to be communicated with. So we do that. But you can't keep up with the bad information that's on social media. It's impossible. So I decided that we would start a podcast that you can get on YouTube, you can get on Spotify, you can get it in a number of different platforms. I can't remember, Don, where they are, but they're there. And we talk about issues that are important, that are relevant really to most communities. We talk about finance, we talk about economic development, we talk about law enforcement, we talk about public works. We had a great conversation with Dr. Gupta about vaccines because there's a lot of talk about should I be vaccinated or not vaccinated? I mean, you hear all of these things that are out there, where you get the information. So we try to bring experts in, and we try to bring in varying opinions as well, so people can make up their own mind. But we would really encourage you, if you're interested in what's happening in New Lenox, there's 11 podcasts, I think, to date that are out there with more coming. The next one we're doing is with an assessor on property taxes and how your home is assessed or how your business is assessed and why it's assessed the way it is and why you pay what you pay. So these are things that are important to us. And in another effort to try and communicate with people, we have our Citizens Academy, which is going on right now. 8-week program, free to all residents, although we do allow others to come in as well. Features presentations from each of our governing bodies. It's the 3rd-year program. This year we have 30 participants, and they spend 8 weeks, 2 hours on a Tuesday night, 2 hours on a Tuesday night for 8 straight weeks. And they'll start at the village, and they'll go to the park district, they'll go to the fire protection, they'll go to the library, and they'll hear longer versions of the snapshot that you got today. So if you really want to know what's happening in your town, this is the thing to do, and we want to share it with you. We want to be transparent with you. We want to give it to you straight. You are able to ask questions, get your answers. I've always felt as the mayor, if people really paid attention to what was going on and really had the real information of what was going on, there'd be a lot less complaining. because you'd have the facts of what's happening. So, all right. Mark your calendars, December 6th and 7th, 13th, 14th, 20th, and 21st, from 4 to 8 is our Christmas in the Commons. We haven't seen snow like that in many, many years at Christmas in the Commons. You're more likely to be able to wear shorts than you are. I don't know what's happening around here. Although Farmer's Almanac, again, is calling for a big winter this year. So Mark, stock up on more of that salt we won't use. All right, please come out and enjoy that. Shell, thank you, and Lori, thank you for mentioning the Children's Museum, rather. Where's my Frankfurt friends? Don't throw anything at me. However, Frankfurt, this group of parents started these moms started this Children's Museum in Frankfurt many, many years ago, and did it themselves, and had a 6,000 square foot space near the trolley barn in Frankfurt, and just did amazing, amazing work. But they needed support. They wanted to grow. People wanted to come there. And so we were fortunate enough to be able to build them a new museum. It is the only children's museum in Will County. It's got Cosmic Clark there on the roof, because if any of you grew up on the south side like I did, you remember the Cigar Store Indian? Well, I said, I want something like that for our children's museum, but it wasn't an Indian, it was an astronaut. So anyway, had some glitches when we first opened. Had some glitches. But our staff has worked really hard to fix it. It's going really, really well. We would encourage you to come out, check it out. Again, that NICU reunion we had the other day was just fantastic. So it was nice to see everybody there. We're going to have, we're already about 70,000 people have come through, and next month makes our 1-year anniversary. So the previous numbers at the old museum, I think, were 42,000. So 70,000 people have come through. Memberships have doubled. We really would encourage you to come check it out. All right, that's it. We went a little bit over. That was Greg's fault. But I want to thank each and every one of you for coming out here today. I'm certainly happy to answer any questions, but I'll stick around for a little bit if you want to do that privately as well. Thank you again to Silver Cross and for all of you participating. Have a great afternoon. Thank you.